Moving on to the next important value of biodiversity is pollination and pest control. Pollination is the one of the most compelling instances of an ecosystem. Uh, this insects and animals, the role of the pollinators like bees, butterflies, birds, or other animals like bats and others, all these pollinators, they say uh, their very role is very, very important in pollinating the food crops. Uh, they say um, world's one third of at least one third of the world crops are sustained by through these pollination, as they pollinate free of charge. And all these pollinators, their services are free of charge, and at least a third of the world's crops are pollinated through this mechanism. And uh, this for 30% of our food we directly depend on pollinators, and 84% of species we cultivate depend on these pollinators. So the pollination value um, of biodiversity is we cannot measure the services of biodiversity. They say these bees um, alone boost US crop revenue by more than 15 billion per year. If you take the global economic value of pollination services performed by insects, it is around 217 American billion dollars per year. This is very huge amount, we can say. And best thing is these services are free of cost. Pest control. Any organism such as fungi, insects, rodents, and plants that harm a crop or livestock or otherwise interfere with the well-being of human beings can be considered as pests. If you take in a diverse community or diverse ecosystem, pest populations are regulated naturally. That means biological means only they are regulated naturally. Natural enemies of insect pests includes predators like birds, herbivores, parasitoids, pathogens. And natural control agents of weeds include seed predators, herbivores, and plant pathogens. Seed predators like rats and mm, um, some kind of insects. They feed on the weeds. So this is known as biological control agents or antagonists or defenders or competitors. And if you look at this picture, this larvae or the pupae of this one species is fed by these insects. Even here, the ladybuggies and the ants are eating away these pests. And here, the spiders, they eat the other insects. Like here, the eggs of some pests are eaten by ants. So this is biological pest control, or this mechanism is called as antagonism, and um, and this is also called as natural predators. These are all natural enemies of this pest. If we spray pesticides, or any other artificial pesticides, then what will happen? Uh, Besides killing these pests, they also kill other natural predators. So what will happen? This creates an unbalanced situation, whereas in the next crop, in the next generations of these pests, because these are all are killed in the next generation, they won't be there to kill this pests. So there will be one unbalanced situation will exist, and these pests will rapidly develop in the absence of their natural enemies. This process is called as resurgence. So for natural pest control, biodiversity is very, very important, and loss of this biodiversity is due to usage of artificial pesticides. Coming to the next category of uh, values of biodiversity is cultural, social, and ethical value. We all know human cultures co-evolve with their environment, and their lifestyle was closely interwoven with their surroundings. And mankind derived many spiritual, inspirational, aesthetic, and educational needs from the natural environment. Uh, we all know that humans have attached cultural importance to biodiversity for thousands of years, over and above its utilitarian value as food, source of material, or labor. Under this nature's influence, uh, the man he developed the humankind, they developed their own cultures, religions, customs, and values. Even the social life taboos or folklore or folk tales, songs, dances are closely woven around the world life. um, as early as in the time of Rigveda, tree worshipping was quite popular in India and in the universe. And it is universal. It is still popularly believed that every tree in our culture in India, we believe that, and it is a popular saying that every tree has a Riksha Devata or tree deity, and who is worshipped with prayers and um, offerings of water, flowers, sweets, and are encircled by sacred threads, and thus the cutting of trees and destruction of flora were considered as sinful. We This is a common sight in our homes. Uh, Many of our Hindu people, they worship Tulasi, and they offer water and flowers to Tulasi plant, and even uh, they thread around um, these trees. And even in our country, many animals like snakes, cows, and monkeys, rats, they are worshipped as gods. Even besides these animals and plants, even rivers like Ganga, Godavari have significant place in Indian religion and psycho-spiritual arena. And thus, it holds special importance. The biological diversity, it holds special importance even today. Some tribal population ascribe magical and mystical powers to certain plants. For example, juniperous fruits or aloe vera plants are hung over the doors for protection from theft. infusion of Syzygium aromatic, that is cloves, is sprinkled to remove negative spirits. Chinese, they believe growing feng shui bamboo bring fortune, health, and prosperity to the family. So that's how the psychospiritual and religious arena is very much influenced by biological biological diversity. Now, coming to the ethical value or existence value of biodiversity is uh, is we all believe that the humankind it believed that the concept of live and let live, and it involves ethical issues like all life must be preserved, and that means we may or may not use a species, but knowing the very fact that each species exists in nature, no matter how small, um, all have an important role to play. So, ethical values differ from place to place, culture to culture, time to time, and differ between different components of biodiversity. Coming to aesthetic value, uh, biodiversity is pure enjoyment that biodiversity it offers to human beings. Can say it contributes to the emotional and spiritual well-being of humankind. Many poets and many songwriters, they derive inspiration from nature, and even nature gives inspiration for creative work. When we are very close to nature, it gives us a kind of pleasure and even spiritual relief to us, not only to us, and even the poets and artists and writers, they're very much inspired by nature, and they portray it there in their writings and in their drawings. So even now, um, uh, people go far off places to enjoy the natural surroundings and wildlife, because the nature provides great recreational activities, and biodiversity promotes ecotourism, and as well as it generates revenue. This biological diversity, it adds quality of life and provides some of the most beautiful aspects of our existence. So we can say the biodiversity is responsible for the beauty of a landscape. So the ethical and aesthetic concern directs us, it make us to respect and strive toward rational stewardship of the world's heritage of biological resources. So this is how the biodiversity have plays a major role in everyone's life on this earth. Because of its different values, it plays a replaceable role in human life. So